The aesthetic is top notch, and then we can just configure the lighting to whatever our mood is. Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this episode of Newegg Now, I'm going to be checking out the Cooler Master MasterBox TD500 mesh case. I did receive this product to review from Cooler Master, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product, you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. You can see the retail box and packaging right here. So with this particular case, we have Polygonal mesh in our design. This features a tempered glass window. We have 3 ARGB fans, and we have room for dual 360 millimeter radiators, and we have plenty of room for additional expansion. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and look at the contents. Here are all the contents. First up, you can see we have our user guide and manual right here walking us through all the different parts and components, and they have setup diagrams and charts for us, walking us through everything we need to know about building a PC with this case. Different options to configure the case, SSD installation. Backside, we have our 120, 140 millimeter fan installation and radiators, and our ARGB configuration options right here. Next up, you can see we have our ARGB switch right here with our power cable connected. Nice toggle button right there. Then you can see we have our hardware kit with zip ties. We have our motherboard screws. We have a nice little included Phillips head socket for our standoff brackets. And we have some hard drive grommets right there. Lastly, you can see the case right here with our tempered glass side panel. Now let's go ahead, let's look at this in more detail. So here it is up close with the panel removed. Check out the inside right here. We already have a bunch of standoff brackets installed for our ATX configuration, but don't forget about micro ATX or mini ATX if you want, and follow the nice chart and key that they have right there for you. Check out our cable management options right here. A lot of different options even down below. Plenty of room and space in here. Even along this side, we have our 3 fans already installed in our front panel. Cooler Master logo and branding. Nice little shroud cutout for our power supply, especially if we have a fancy one that has a screen. Really cool that we have that see-through and opening right there. Now you can see from the top right here, check it out. Everything looks great. We can remove this very easily. It's just a nice magnetic cover, revealing all the different mounting options for our radiators and cooling up top. Then you can see it just slides right back on. Now looking at it from the front panel, check it out. You can see our Cooler Master logo and branding down here. Our 3 fans peeking through as well. We have this polygonal mesh, which looks really cool in person. I'm not sure if the camera's doing it justice, but a really nice looking front panel. Can't wait to see that lit up. And then at the top, you can see power button front and center with our Cooler Master logo design, headphone jack, microphone. Looks like we got a reset, USB 3.0 ports, 2 of those, and we have our hard drive indicator light. Now we have the front panel cover removed. You just grab it and pull up from the bottom. You can see the 3 fans that we have right here and how everything looks. Now you can look at it from the back side right here. So check it out. You can see where our motherboard's gonna go, where we can install an exhaust fan. There is not one included, so keep that in mind. We also have all of our expansion slots right here and our spot for our power supply at the bottom. Pay attention to these 2 screws as well. You can unscrew those to remove the back panel. Now you can see from the back side with the panel removed. So check out all of our cable routing options right here. 2 SSD mounting points. We have 2 hard drive bays as well that are removable for 3.5-inch drives. And then you can see all of our included cables right here for our front panel I/O as well as our ARGB fans. So you can see that splitter that's included and already installed for us. Lastly, you can see the bottom of our case right here with our 4 feet, nice rubber support. And we have a removable screen, easy to wash and clean for our power supply unit's fan. And that just kind of slides back in. It's not magnetic like the top screen. That would have been nice, but it's easy to take on and off as needed. Now let's go ahead and build our PC. So first up, you can see everything from the top right here. We have our USB 3.0 ports, our nice illuminated power button, and then we have our headphone jack, mic jack, and you can see we have our reset switch right here programmed with the included controller, so we can actually configure and change our RGB lights directly from the top of the case. No additional software needed, which is really, really cool. We can also remove this cover and you can see how we have our radiator mounted. Plenty of room if we wanted to get an even larger radiator in there. And then this just snaps right back on and in place. And we have a nice little glow you can see a little bit up top from our fans, giving us a little bit of RGB illumination. Now we're looking at what has to be my favorite part of this build, the front panel. Check it out. We have our 3 fans, beautiful RGB, really bright, nice and lit up with the really cool polygonal mesh right here. So really happy with how that looks. The aesthetic is top notch, and then we can just configure the lighting to whatever our mood is. Now you can see the backside of our PC right here. We have our power supply at the bottom with our power cable plugged in, our GPU right here. You can see the additional exhaust fan that we installed with this build, and it looks cool too because you can see some of the RGB glow out back. And then we have our I/O shield and our motherboard ports in I/O right there. Keep in mind, when you buy cheaper motherboards, typically you have less ports and options there. I felt like this one struck a good balance for what I needed, and I don't really need any USB ports or anything like that, so really happy with the options that we get right there. But obviously no Wi-Fi either, just 2.5 gig LAN, which is really nice. So now you can see everything from the side right here. It really came together nicely. Plenty of room to route and manage our cables properly from the side or down below and up through the shroud. We have our visible power supply cover right here. I like that we can see in there, especially if you get a fancy one with some RGB or maybe a screen on it. But we have a nice shroud to still keep it quiet, cool, and separate from our build. Plenty of room on the side for additional expansion or maybe some custom water cooling. You can see the additional fan we added for an exhaust fan here. And check out the glow from our cooler, top notch. The fans look so nice, and the cooler illuminates as well too. You may notice the RAM is not synced up with the rest of the fans. That's because that's being controlled by the motherboard, whereas everything else is being controlled by the controller and the case itself, because that's how we set it up. So if we wanted this to match, we would have to configure that separately within our motherboard light settings, which the Asus Aura light is a great option, so we wouldn't have any issues there changing it to a blue or rainbow or whatever we wanted to match maybe the theme of the rest of the build. Also want to point out at this step, while we're looking at everything, if you are going to buy some RAM, you might want to get some low profile RAM depending on the size of the cooler you're going to use. Space is definitely a delicacy at the top here, so everything works great, but if we wanted to remove the RAM or upgrade the RAM right now, we'd actually have to take off the radiator. Not that big of a deal, but just keep that in mind. You could get some lower profile RAM. But again, plenty of room if you want a larger graphics card, additional expansion. We can still get to some of our M.2 bays right here too. So really have plenty of room to grow into this build. Now, just for fun with all the studio lights off, I wanted to show you guys the different RGB settings that we have. So really quickly, we'll cycle through them, but look at how good it looks. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. We have a lot of different lighting effects, different transitions, obviously a lot of different colors too. So we'll keep going through, but man, they look so good. The blue, I love the blue colors that they have coming out of this. But honestly, they all look really good. And I'm still afraid the camera's not going to do it justice, but man, oh man, look at these colors. We got the Cooler Master purple right there. Look at that front panel with the mesh. Oh, it looks so cool. All right, let's keep cycling through. Ooh, we got some of our RGB rainbows right here. Look at that. Matches our RAM now. And then you can see we have another effect with that. We can keep going. Look at that one. That one's really cool. Very bright and vivid. Ooh. So you can have a lot of fun with this build. Take it whatever direction that you want. I mean, look at those effects. And again, you can even use software. This is just with the included controller and what we have access to. But man, I'm glad I picked that option for this one. All right, now we're testing out the thermals of this case. We have our Cinebench test running. It's been running for 2 cycles now. We're on the 2nd cycle, and you can see what we're getting. We're averaging around 75 degrees Celsius under full load. We peaked at 86 initially when we started the test. It dropped to 83 for a while, then went to 75. It's crept back up to 82, held around the 80s there, 81, 82, and back to 75 under full load. So everything's working great. The thermals are definitely within range. This case is doing a great job thanks to those 3 fans giving us a lot of nice cool intake air. Definitely helps that we have that exhaust fan as well. That fan air coming out the back isn't even that warm. Most of the warm air, as you would expect, is coming out the top where our radiator is, but it's working great. Cool air coming in the side, some of our warmer air exhausting out the other side, but we're really doing a good job pulling all of that cold air through the case. And then we have our fans for our radiator being able to grab that nice cool airstream and airflow and then get rid of all of the additional warm air. So under max load with this case, you shouldn't have any problems if you're using a similar setup to us. So I'm very happy with the thermals. They're definitely within range. So now let me share with you my final thoughts on the Cooler Master MasterBox TD500 mesh case. Overall, count me impressed. I had a great experience building in this case. It feels small and compact in footprint, yet fairly expansive internally as you're getting everything set up and installed. What do I like best? Well, it'd have to be that front panel with the 3 fan setup and that polygonal mesh design. I can't say enough good things about how good it looks in person. It's really just a sharp and sleek case, and it's great that we also have our tempered glass on the side so we can still see everything internally as well, because again, we went through the effort to have some nice RGB in here so we can appreciate it whether we're looking at the front or the side or maybe a combination of both. Now, with that being said, what would I want to see improved in this case in the future? The first thing is a simple one. I'd love to have an additional fan included so we don't have to buy any other fans if we don't want. Just throw in one additional ARGB fan for the back exhaust. That would be great. Now, you could argue that maybe with the cooler you're using, you don't want to use one that's obsolete, or you're going to mount your, maybe you have a single radiator fan that you're going to put on the back. Well, so be it. Good for you. For me, I'd like to have our exhaust fan dedicated and then our radiator venting up top, but again, to each their own. The second thing is just make sure when you're using this case, you plan for the end in mind. It felt a little bit cramped up top with the cooler that I selected. It'd be great to have like an additional ½ inch of room right there. But again, everything worked fine. We got it installed, no issues. I'm just being really picky. So just take your time with your build and you'll be fine. Other than that, I think the biggest thing for me that's probably the most annoying is this top cover right here. I really wish they had a different design. I don't know. I've been moving this PC around a lot, so that's probably why it bothers me. If yours is going to stay stationary, it's not going to be a big deal to you. But this just doesn't really stay in place like it does because the magnet kind of snaps in, so it, stays in place. But as soon as you touch it just a little bit, you can see it comes loose. So I wish they had a better solution or maybe another cover up top so you wouldn't have to worry about touching it accidentally or moving it if you didn't want to. It just feels a little bit cheap on that top cover right here. But I am glad it is a magnet after all, but maybe they need to make it a little bit stronger. And lastly, it'd be nice to have USB Type-C on the front. I know that would probably be an extra, maybe bump up the price, but I would say that it would be appreciated to have the option to, at least if nothing else, maybe charge your phone. But overall, solid choice. Very happy with the room that we have and the value of this case and how good everything looks. Well, that concludes our video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget the product link will be in our video description below. Please go ahead, check it out, and do your shopping from there. Any purchase made through that link helps support our channel at no additional cost to you. So we're really grateful and thankful for all of your support. While you're at it, can you go ahead and hit that like button for us? And subscribe to our channel. We have new content coming out daily and we don't want you to miss anything. Please go ahead and give us a follow online and make it a clean sweep. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Discord. You can message us on WeChat, check out our website, and join our free newsletter. Thank you guys so much for being here. Don't forget new content daily, and we can't wait to see you in our next video.